is the Opie and Anthony Show.
We got Kennedy coming in from MTV, the old MTV days. The Kennedy Chronicles is the new book.
A book.
And we saw her outside the studio yesterday, and we were trying to squeeze her in. We just didn't have time, so we said, please come back.
Don't sit next to Jimmy's stinky breakfast.
No.
That's breakfast. It's ass.
It really is terrible.
No, there's no breakfast.
No. I was telling Anthony, I got to start by thanking you because Ben Stiller bought us dinner because of you.
What happened?
Way back in the day. I was working at a radio station on Long Island BAB, and we did a little ski trip at the ski house. Remember when MTV was doing the ski house? And we're having a nice steak dinner in this big fucking restaurant. And you're having dinner with Ben Stiller, so I don't know what that was about. Maybe because you guys were just working together, or maybe you were fucking.
No, there was no fucking.
There was no fucking. Okay.
I went to a strip bar with him and Steven Dorff and Guy Oseary one night.
Right. Okay.
And they were all very embarrassed because they were getting lap dances and boners, and then I was sitting there like
boners.
And
were you pointing and laughing at the boners?
Yeah,
okay.
And they were mortified.
So the girls
never take your lady friends to strip clubs.
No, the girls I were with that night, they were like, "Holy fuck, that's Ben Stiller," and they were freaking out. And they were kind of trying to get Ben Stiller back to the condo for an after-hours party. And
this was before Ben Stiller was Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
I mean, he had directed Reality Bites and Cable Guy, but he wasn't.
He was on his way, though.
Yes.
The girls we knew who he was, and we knew who you were, obviously. Ow. And you finally had it. You're like, fuck these fucking broads. So you got up. And you went to the DJ booth and pointed at our table and said, "These bitches are having an after." I don't know if you said bitches, but it was pretty, out there. They're having an after-hours party at condo number. Boom, and you kind of, threw the mic down kind of aggressively and went back to your table. So then it was time to pay the bill. And the waitress comes up to us and goes, "Oh, your dinner's taken care of." And we all look, and she goes, "That guy's paying." And there's Ben, like, awkwardly waving, like, "Hi,
I love
hi, sorry, sorry." I've always wanted to tell you this.
Oh, when people apologize on my behalf, isn't that fantastic?
And I don't think you were in the wrong or anything. You were like, "Holy fuck, enough with these bitches."
I didn't say bitches.
Well, whatever. Yeah.
I would have said cunts.
Okay. Enough of these broads, and then you went up and.
Can I say that? That was really.
Of course, I like that you said that.
That's a good time to ask too. After it flies out.
Right, we like that.
Yeah, we actually like hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always had that story, and I figured one day I'd be able to tell you.
I hope the steak was worth it.
It was good. It was fun.
Nice.
It was a good night. I was laughing pretty hard. It was good. So the new book's called The Kennedy Chronicles.
What? Come on.
Hi.
What is in there?
When I went back and actually edited it and had to read the book, because, you write chapter by chapter, and sometimes things are out of order, and I would sit and try to figure out the order. When I got the copy edit, which is where they go through, like a grammar school teacher goes through and puts commas in where
they should be
stupid things out.
That
and
dumb shit.
They make really passive aggressive comments in the margin. Like,
no!
Did you mean to say this?
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah.
Copy editors are awful. They're awful people.
Oh, they're bores.
And they don't care if it changes the context of the joke. They want the grammar proper. Like,
and it's interesting that you say that because I made two references to. I referred to myself as appearing autistic, and the copy editor flagged that as offensive language. But then I went through the Word document and put in the word retarded, and that came up like 700 times, and she never flagged that, and I thought that was really hypocritical.
Of course.
Wait, she had the right. Why would they flag offensive language, or was that just to let you know because you asked them to, or why would they do that?
No, she was like, this term could be offensive to some people, and I'm like, afflicted with midgetry also is, but I left that in.
Midgetry.
We have just lost our minds in this country.
Yeah,
so now you can't write an honest book?
Mein Kampf is for sale.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't, Barnes & Noble.
Is that flagged? Margin notes on that one?
But does that mean they were going to, you had to leave it out, or they were just letting you know?
Yeah,
okay,
they,
good.
I
you did?
All right,
okay.
good.
No, I left
they were just letting you know.
And I actually wrote angrily in the margin.
Oh, good.
It's like, you know what? Like, I was not talking about autistic children.
Right.
When I described something as retarded, I was not talking about the intellectually challenged.
Right.
Of course.
Margin fight.
Yeah, and then
cool.
I get the next word. It's like, oh, no, you didn't.
It's like, it's an old school classroom desk.
Yeah, your mom's so big.
On the desk.
Right.
Good for you that you kept it in. That's good.
Yeah. Did you have sex with Michael Jordan? I just need to know.
No, I had sex with my husband. That was it. I mean, that's the point. And I didn't even mean, like, I didn't sit down and write an outline and say, you know what I'm going to have as a recurring theme?
Right.
My poor, tired hymen. Like, I'm going to leave that throughout the book in every chapter, my adolescent longing that is never fulfilled.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's like, it could have been called, like, the Blue Balls Chronicles, because there were so many boys in there that I kissed and didn't have...
Well, did you have a chance to have sex with them?
I would have if I lost the dice game. But I won, so I got the Nets tickets.
I'm so confused.
Wait, that was what was up for grabs? If you win, you get Nets tickets, and if he wins, he gets sex with you?
No, it wasn't sex. I mean, it wasn't explicitly sex, but it was, you'll come back to my hotel room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, that means sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was hoping it didn't. So I read in the book, like, what would happen if that really meant sex. And it ended up with, like, me telling him, no, I've never done this before, and him rubbing chapstick between his palms trying to create de facto lube.
De facto. We just got the book, so we haven't been able to read some chapters. But if you look at the mainstream...
Oh, that's so cute that you're insinuating you're literate.
I read a book every once in a while. But the mainstream media is kind of hinting that there might have been sex with you and Michael Jordan. That's how they're promoting it.
No, I think they have the same longing of unrealized potential that I do.
Right, okay.
You know, like, wow, what would it have been like?
Right.
What would have the hemorrhaging in the emergency room been like after a night with Michael Jordan?
Wouldn't it be great if you only had like 5.5 thin? How great would that be?
Poor guy.
5.5 thin.
Yeah, he's a great ball player, and he's 6'6", and it's just a small, thin penis.
Just a Twizzler dick.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were married the whole time you were at MTV?
No, I started dating my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, in 95. So I got there in 92, met Dave in 95.
Oh, okay.
And then finally got it on.
There wasn't just crazy sex stuff going on at MTV.
Just boning left and right.
Yeah, because that's
Take off my
the
bra in the
impression.
makeup room.
Right.
Boobies. No. I mean, there was for some people.
Yeah.
But, and I tried. I would have.
So I guess that guy that called up early was lying.
Oh, yeah, there's a guy with a story.
Some guy called up and he was like, yeah, I worked at MTV back in the day, and me and Kennedy went into the bathroom.
Oh,
and,
yeah, that was us.
Yeah,
just 12 dicks in my face.
we called him a lump of shit, a liar.
Yeah, we protected you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
And you're like, listen, Sumner Redstone. You say that back this second.
Isn't he a lovely man?
Oh, boy.
No, I was straight edge. I did not have. I didn't have sex. I wanted to.
How many years were you on there?
5.5.
Yeah, you were famous, man. Holy fuck.
You don't realize that.
You
though.
were
I mean,
famous.
you don't
What do you mean you
any-
didn't realize?
Because I didn't watch MTV. And, I would go places and just wear, a wool cap. And
Right.
when you wear glasses, people, they don't recognize you.
Wow, really? People didn't recognize you?
If I had like big hair and purple lipstick and
Right.
and I went to a rock show, like if I went to a Soul Asylum show, I was Madonna.
Soul
Yeah,
Asylum.
Runaway train.
Oh, good.
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
Soul
so
Asylum.
it was all like depending on where you were and
Yeah,
stuff and what
it
you
was
were
all
wearing. Yeah.
contextual.
I don't know about that. I think you're downplaying it. MTV was
But
huge
I didn't
back
watch
then.
it, so I didn't know
Fucking huge.
how much
Right.
we were on. And we would go take VJ segments, and we would end up being on 8 hours a day.
Right.
It would take like a half hour to tape 8 hours worth of programming,
Yeah.
and you're on all day long.
Right.
So kids come home from
Jesus.
school, and
Right.
that's all there was.
What were you
And-
doing before that? How'd you get the gig initially?
Well, I was doing radio. I was an intern
All
at
right.
a radio station at K-Rock in L.A.
Yeah.
And then I used to hector my boss every day and be like, you should totally put me on the air. I'd be so fun. And he's like, yeah, you can leave. And then one day, the overnight guy quit. And,
Here's my shot.
and then they hired Tammy Heidi from Boston, who was like a huge jock in Boston, and then moved her to middays. And they didn't have anyone to do the overnights, and they were scrambling. And this was a radio station that regularly put interns on the air. It wasn't like, I was this beacon and everyone else, they were broadcasting icons.
Yeah.
Like every other person who was on overnights had been fetching bagels earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And so I got a job a couple nights a week, and then I started working for Kevin and Bean in the morning. And then my boss from the radio station went to MTV as a senior VP of programming.
Oh, man.
And
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got to
That
do it.
works.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Good
great.
for you.
What is a
yeah.
VJ audition? What do you have to do? Just kind of throw to a song, or what do they have you do?
Yeah, I mean, it would be like a radio audition where, you know, you're essentially doing breaks and talking about music, and you have to show that you know something about music and pop culture, and you know, you try and be...
That's why I didn't get the gig, because
Did you audition?
I had an audition when we first moved to New York, yeah.
Do you have
Actually,
that tape?
it was for VH1. I've been looking for this tape forever. I do not officially have the tape.
Oh, my
But
God.
I want that more than another angle on the JFK assassination. I want that tape.
Me and Anthony were at Caroline's for a Stephen Lynch show, and one of the people from MTV/VH1, you know, pulled me aside and said, "Come on in for an audition." Yeah, there's a tape somewhere.
Oh, I love to
I've
see
never
that.
seen it, but I did. I obviously did not get the
home
gig.
in the 90s, there's no tape. I
Really?
actually had, like, MTV was really cool about this book because they knew it wasn't going to be a salacious MTV tell-all where I exposed the dirt of the network and ruined them, finally. But it was really, you know, an idealized first-person account, but they assigned me a PA who, you know, went and got as much tape as she could, but there were specific chapters where I wanted the interviews. Like I wanted the No Doubt interview and Henry Rollins and Radiohead, and she couldn't find it.
They don't have the.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
I'm kidding.
They have to have them somewhere.
It's got to be somewhere.
One of
Maybe
those
she went through the
deep
first
vaults.
file cabinet and went, yeah, no,
Maybe they were
Not
just
gonna
lazy.
find him.
Maybe they were lazy over there. How do you not save that stuff?
They have to. Although a lot of the Tonight shows are lost. Because they started taping over it. Some of the oldest Carsons are lost, and they were
Right.
just used over again and retaped. It was
Right.
just such
Well, they
idiocy.
probably figured they did so many shows.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
they didn't
who's
receive-
going to care about this?
Yeah,
in
no,
the,
Johnny
oh,
Carson,
boy.
flash in the pan.
You were at the end of the golden era of MTV, right?
I think so.
It didn't go too much further after you. I don't
The
think.
music didn't know, and
No.
someone asked me yesterday, what do you think took the music out of MTV? And I think you guys get so much food.
It's crazy.
You want
in this
some?
place.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We try to eat healthy.
Really is
Blueberries and
crazy.
oatmeal, you know.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We're like little Roman emperors.
We don't want to be fat
Is
DJs.
the man with the lady hair going to feed you with his fingers? Nice thing.
He's the intern. We just don't even know his name. I don't know. What was it?
I think it's
Taylor,
Chibo.
Tyler. Yeah, something like that.
Who were some of the VJs after you? I'm trying to remember.
Carson Daly.
Oh,
Ananda
Carson came
Lewis.
after you.
Carson and I overlapped.
Oh, right,
by
of course,
a
because
summer.
TRL, right,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think it was TRL because when they realized that they could play 10 seconds of a video,
Right.
and that's all they had to play, they were like, how about we play no seconds? So someone probably, you know, put that out there in a meeting, and everyone went, yeah.
You know what?
But that
You're
shit was
right.
so frustrating because some of those songs were pretty hot, and you wanted to kind of see the whole video.
And they would come
there's
back.
Carson Daly. I'm like, no, I want to see more of the
Yeah,
video.
that was. You're like, no, it wasn't. That was a quarter of it. Not
Right.
even.
Didn't
Right.
the Real World heard
That
it
was
too?
just the tip.
Yeah, just the tip. They just put in the tip.
A little bit.
The Real
A little
World
bit.
too, right? Because that kind of changed their
Yeah,
programming
and
a lot.
that was 92. So that debuted in 92 before I got there, and there was a lot of controversy about that show. And, you know, people are like, ooh, it's fake, it's, you know, or it's really dangerous and you shouldn't be showing people like this.
Yeah, I
Being
do
real.
remember the controversy. Everything's
Yeah.
controversial.
Yeah, everyone has to make something out of it. Like,
God,
even, I
right?
remember when Survivor debuted. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, people are going to die.
They're gonna die. Is this what we should be having people do? It's
We're
kind
in
of
the
a
gutter.
We're putting people on exhibit and all right. Stop, relax.
But the early Real Worlds, that was real reality shows.
Way more so.
Way more than now. Now it's ridiculous.
Everything's a storyline. You
Of
watch
course.
any
Storyline,
reality
yep.
show, and everything
Right.
is so
Right.
forced and pre-produced,
Yes.
and it's because no one wants to sit there and
You
go
have to
through
wait it
24
out.
hours of footage.
I read, I think it took 6 months to get a Real World. Like, they had to be in a house for 6 months.
Yeah, I'm sure
and
they were
nowadays,
there
they're barely there 3 weeks to film a whole,
Yeah.
season.
It's called
And they're all-
assisted reality now.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
Assisted
okay,
reality.
so we're gonna do group anal at 3, and then you guys
Yeah.
are gonna get loaded, and you're gonna vomit on yourselves by 4:30, and we need a hard out here.
Yeah, the fight will be a good ending for this one.
Pedro and Puck. I mean, come on. That shit was, great.
Okay, in the book, I talk about taking Puck home to Portland
Really?
because I had interviewed him for a
Did he
late night.
punch you?
Did he wipe a
I
booger
broke
on
my
you?
wrist, and I blame it on him. You know what he did? He wounded my family with his inane, boring stories.
Oh my God, that's great.
And,
body odor?
and my parents are Midwesterners, and they don't understand,
But
know,
it's
that
Puck
sort
in
of
your house.
malignant narcissism
Right.
that just takes over, and he just blanketed them with stink and
Oh,
stories of
God.
his friend, the orangutan trainer. And So he was such an ass that by the end of the 2 or 3 days, my brothers and I were like, let's pretend we're on the real world. And my brother was like, I'll be Muhammad, you be Rachel. And they're like, Puck, you can play yourself. And he started crying.
Really?
And
What?
he was like, this is so mean. I don't know why you guys are doing this. Yeah, he got all emotional.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Why
then
did
they-
you have him in your
mental
house?
pitch.
What was the?
Because he convinced me he had nowhere to go for Christmas. And my mom was like, well, honey, just bring him here.
Oh,
We'll
no.
have such a nice time. We'll just have some Bosco, and we'll open presents, and we'll have a birthday cake for Jesus. It'll be wonderful.
Did you regret that?
Oh, she still does.
To this day, right? She brings it up.
Yeah, she's like, who was that Rock or Pick? What was his name? He was awful.
Brought fuck to your house.
And then I went to, I'm the only person in my family who ever went to church. And so I was going to church on Christmas, and Puck's like, you should take me. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I think that you will catch on fire if you walk into a church. And he wore lederhosen.
Really?
And
What?
Yes. And I was too tired. I had a broken wrist, and I didn't want to fight, and I was already exhausted, and I was like,
He's got it always. It was always making everything about him. Yeah.
and making it difficult. And so now when I go back home, there are all these Greeks that come up to me like, why did you bring Puck and later?
Oh my God!
Why
Still.
do you do this? Why?
Still.
Yes.
Wow.
What happened to Puck?
He's an ass. You know what he is now? He's like, allegedly, in the recesses of my memory, a wife-beating drunken driver who got a DUI with his kid in the car.
Right.
Yeah, and then
I mean, he's done some things that's like, you're such, like, I contemplated not writing about him because of the horrible things he's done just in the last 5 years.
I have heard, yeah.
This.
There's domestic violence, there's a restraining order, DUI, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
with
really.
a kid in the car.
With the kid in
It's
the
like,
car.
you know what? Go get bombed and drive off a cliff.
Right.
That's fine.
Without the kid.
Without the kid.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Was he
God,
mean
that's
to you
crazy.
on that? Was he mean to your family or just a boob?
He was a boob. I mean, he tried to be like, woo, this is me. And my friend was like, yeah, we're kind of over it.
Yeah.
Totally
yeah.
down. Like,
Not really impressed
No.
by you at all, so. Yeah.
So what did you end up doing after MTV?
I moved to Seattle. So I fell in love with my boyfriend in 95. And then in 97, my contract was up in December. And I knew that I wanted to leave. Like, I didn't want to be the person who stayed at the party too long.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I was worried that if I signed another deal, like, that's all I would ever do. But there was still that risk anyway, like, even if I stayed
Right.
there. So, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, I love you, Dave. He has satellite in his truck. He broke his back.
Wow.
And so I had just finished shooting at the U.S. Open of surfing in Huntington Beach. I had a great day, and his friend called me frantically, and they're like, Dave just broke his back. He's in an ambulance. He might be paralyzed.
Jeez.
And it was like, holy shit, Jesus.
Jeez.
So I went up to Portland where he was, and he had major back surgery, and, you know, they're like, well, he might be paralyzed after the surgery. So, and you realize in that moment when someone's really hurt that you love, you realize how much you love him, how much you love them. And he looked at me and he was like, I don't want you to be my girlfriend. I want to marry you. I'm like, I'm moving to Seattle. And so I did. So I moved to Seattle, and we bought a house on Lake Washington, and it was really great. And we'd play mini golf, and then I had to start working because that doesn't pay for itself.
Right.
And then I started doing talk radio in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. You are in the business. I know that. Okay. And you're still doing that?
I did talk radio for years. Now I do a music show
Right.
in the morning in L.A.
You were successful doing talk radio. Of course, I know that.
That was really fun. I love talk,
Yeah.
and I still fill in on KFI for John and Ken and stuff
Okay.
like that, and that's great. I mean, that is such a focused challenge. So like anything other than a 4-hour show where you're talking alone without taking phone calls
Yeah.
is super easy compared
I
to
know
that.
I mean, I think so many people in our world would have loved to be on MTV. To actually walk away from that, I can't imagine.
Did you feel like they were going to want you to leave, or did you feel like I have to walk
She
away?
easily could have done another few
No,
years.
I think I could have stayed.
But to make that decision, going, I'm walking away from MTV.
It was very anxiety inducing.
I can
And I
imagine.
talk about in the books like having panic attacks. Like I'm leaving everything I know, like
Jeez.
everything I know professionally and socially. My roommate worked at MTV. We were roommates for 5 years. She was an executive at MTV. You know, I didn't meet my boyfriend through MTV, but he was so wrapped up in that world, and all I knew professionally and socially was there.
Right.
You know, not to mention being on TV and wondering, like, maybe I'm never going to work in broadcasting again. Like, that was such a possibility.
Did you ever regret it? Was there a time, like, after, like, 2 or 3 years later, you're like, oh, fuck?
No, I really liked being in Seattle. I was more surprised at the blowback I got politically trying to get jobs outside of MTV, and people being like, yeah. When I wrote a book an advice book for girls in '99, and had a hard time finding a publisher, because you're not going to believe this, but publishers in New York are very liberal.
Wow.
And so they were like, oh, she's the Republican, blah, 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 blah. And so that was difficult, but other than that, you know, I've always tried to do kind of fun, interesting stuff. And so I did a game show on Game Show Network, and I did Pitchmen on Discovery Channel, and I'm a correspondent for Stossel on Fox Business, and he's amazing.
Stossel.
Yeah, because he's a full-on libertarian and sends me to do, like, these great stories, and I climbed over the border fence into Mexico a couple weeks ago. I drove drunk with the LA County Sheriff. I mean, the LA County Sheriff's Department got me drunk, and then drove around the cones, and I just went to Detroit and hung out with urban farmers.
Oh, man.
It's fantastic.
Urban farmers.
What's an urban farmer?
It's like beekeepers and stuff who are squatting on city land in Detroit, growing kale, and they have chickens and bees and all this stuff, and, you know, it's like hippies with beards. Like, yeah, man.
It's like Thunderdome, Detroit.
It is. That's why it's so
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Like, stop trying to make it Chicago. Like, let the earth swallow the sea
Let it just
whole.
be, right?
Barter town.
Yes, and then let it become this strange agrarian, like, neo-libertarian experiment of awesomeness.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Did that piece run yet? I want to see that.
Yeah, that was last week.
Oh, I'll look it up online.
Did you go by the bees at all?
I did. I walked by the bees, and I was like, am I going to get stung? 'Cause this would be cool. Like, maybe Detroit bees are, like, even harder.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You didn't get stung?
What's that?
I would never walk by a beehive, ever.
Really?
It wasn't a hive. I mean, they're like in boxes.
Yeah,
they
I know.
Just sort of buzz around.
But there's always a few on the outside of the boxes.
There's got to be one ornery one.
Yeah, there's a few that just don't want to be in the box.
They were buzzing. It's like pit bulls.
Right.
You know, everyone says, oh, no, my dog is so sweet and nice, until he's latching onto a toddler's throat.
Right.
But, you know, they're so
those
cute dogs.
beekeepers that don't even wear the suits. They're just out there, and bees are on their hand, and they go, and they're like this.
Yeah, they're just brushing them off.
A bee. If I see a bee, and I'm
They
not
look like Rocky Dennis.
vigilant.
They've got, like, cauliflower face.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm not vigilant, though, around a bee, one will just go and just fly right into me, stinger first.
Yeah.
And they're just like, wiping them off.
They're just assholes. Fuck.
I
What did I do to you? Relax.
Yeah, they're like the frustrated accountants of the animal world.
Yes.
So I was watching a special on Japanese hornets, and there was a guy catching them with no gloves. And those are the biggest hornets in the world. They're horrible. They're horrible bees. And he was just catching them in a little net and then wisping them into a honey jar and like making them drown so he could make this special potent honey.
Oh, yeah, because it's probably some, like, wiener elixir.
Yeah.
What a prick.
Yeah.
Did you see did you see the video on YouTube? This is my favorite. The guy cleaning the poop in the cobra cage.
No.
Yes.
That's insane.
Oh.
Yes,
He's like in a
played
zoo
it.
in a cobra pen, and he's just like cleaning up the cobra poop.
Like it's nothing.
And he's got like 20
They're all
balls.
like,
Right. 20 doing that
Yeah.
Cobra thing.
Yeah,
doing
they
that
make a
wacky-
zombie sound from Walking Dead. They're all
And he doesn't even think. Can you pop it up real fast? And he doesn't even
That's
think twice
crazy.
about it. He's like, yeah, it's just my job. Who cares?
yeah, he's like, man, bite me.
Right.
Go ahead.
I dare you.
I make 4 cents a day. We're in Indonesia.
Right.
Eat a bag of dicks, all of you.
It's fucked
You're
up.
naked on the cover of your book there,
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Oh. Yeah, side nude. Pretty
Side
cool.
note. Yeah, and I lied.
And I should
to my
add-
daughters. My daughter's like, why are you naked? And I was like, I'm not. I'm wearing a bodysuit.
Oh, okay.
It looks like I'm naked, doesn't it? And my 8-year-old's like, you know, about that whole bodysuit thing.
That's
She goes,
naked.
I can see your tattoo and your side boobie. And I was like, oh, yeah, they do that. It's called Photoshop.
Yeah, they photoshopped it in.
Yeah.
But Mommy's not naked.
I should add looking good, by the way. It's not cool to just say you're naked.
Oh, yeah, it's a great show.
I want to add
That's-
looking good too, by the way.
That's from 1994.
You're on a mule.
Yeah. Very good. You're the first person who got that because everyone's like, you know,
Donkey?
I feel bad for the horse.
Oh.
That's not
That's
a
a
horse.
mule, man. Look. You can tell by
Yeah, you
the
can see his little
This
funny
is
head.
94.
Yeah.
What was the photo shoot for?
It was for Us Magazine. Mark Seliger took that. And so the mock-up that they did at the publishing company was the least attractive photo you've ever seen of any human being.
Right.
So what they found some free, horrible photo of me where my face looks, I mean, from the picture, it looks like I'm making this sound. Like, and it would be repellent if you saw that in a bookstore.
Yeah.
And I gave it to my husband. He's like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah.
He's like, "I would actively walk away. I would walk out of the bookstore if I saw it." So then my editor was like, "We need a picture from the '90s." I'm like, "I must have taken one good photo." And then I remembered that with Mark Seliger, and so I just called his studio, like cold called him, and been like, "Hi, you don't know me because you're 12, but back in 1994, I took a great picture with Mark, and I was wondering if I could use it for my book." And he let me, and that makes him awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't realize this was from '94. You haven't aged there, Kennedy.
You're very kind.
I'm serious. You look good, man.
That's pretty nice.
So what's going to be what's in this book? I should say. We should try to sell some books today.
Oh, you're so kind. So the Michael Jordan story,
right? He's a big gambler, man.
Oh yeah, that's why I knew when I pulled out the dice that it was on.
Right? Did you get to see him? Gambling.
I gambled with him.
But I mean, like the big numbers, like he would lose it.
The big numbers was my lady cherry. Like that was it. That was what
You're
we
crazy.
were gambling for. Because I was like, "Do you want me to go get $400?"
Right.
Which was the most I could take out of the ATM. I'm basic cable.
He was pushing millions, man. He would lose millions.
That's what I said. Like he would lose my salary in
seconds,
an hour. Yes, on one hand of blackjack in any given casino.
And play some blackjack, but Jordan's got you beat.
Oh please, of course he does.
And goes pretty high. He's a little.
I try.
He's a little nutty
you
with
play
it.
like 3 hands at once. I saw my dad doing that. It's crazy.
Yeah, 3 hands.
That takes confidence.
Max bet on all 3. And double down, splitting them.
He's in the high roller room.
Before you know it, it's like
he's up there.
You got a lot.
Are you good? I mean,
lot
what's
of
your
cash
lifetime average? Have you made more than you've lost?
I absolutely think I've made more than I've lost. Okay. I've had some pretty bad.
Every
beats.
gambler says that though.
Yeah, my dad never would tell us when he'd lose.
So I'm
but he'd
calling
come
you
home
out
and be
on
like, I won $60,000 this weekend in Reno.
I talk about when I lose.
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
here going, oh,
you really think
that wasn't good. Oh,
you really think you're up?
Yeah, I think I am.
I think so.
Do you think he's bluffing?
I don't.
Have you ever thought of an intervention?
I know, right?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
You want to start
a couple of different things.
Please.
Why?
Do I think he's lying? No, I think he might be. I think he's right around there. I think he's right around.
I think I'm doing all right.
Even or a little up. I think he might be telling the truth.
I think I'm a little up.
Even if you're a little up, that's way ahead. Because there's some people who like.
Oh, yeah. Everything. Terrible.
Here's the Cobra video. For reference.
Oh, he's right there with him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's just throwing it like
just
they're rubber
throwing him
snakes.
out because he needs to get to that area of the pen.
Look at that one is like striking. He's like,
and look at the one over on the right.
I thought you've seen this video.
I have. I'm
no, I mean
by it.
these guys.
No, I never saw this one.
Why does he put them nicely?
Look, all of them behind him.
What is those some eggs?
Do we have sound? I want to hear like the horrible sound these things are making.
What is he getting at?
Walking Dead zombies.
Yeah,
those are eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
sweeps them away.
And look what he's wearing. He's not even wearing shoes.
He's got flip-flops on.
He's got flip-flops. I would want to be in a suit of armor.
Right.
This is craziness. What an asshole.
Just sweeping them up.
What's the little broom?
He's got a dumb little homemade broom.
I wouldn't do that if they were rubber snakes.
Yeah, a stick with bristles. Yeah.
What about the snakes behind him? He's not even looking behind him.
Oh my God!
Get the hell out of here.
It struck at him. He didn't even flinch.
Then he does this freaky deaky shaman thing in the snake's face.
He didn't even flinch when that thing struck at him.
That's crazy.
Well, if he put them nicely, they probably wouldn't hate him so much, but he throws them.
He throws them like they're
Guy's
rubber.
a dick.
Like they're hoses.
Why aren't they biting him? This guy's magic.
Best sound ever. That, if I heard that once.
Of course.
So look, he's right next to the one that's cut back, ready to hit him.
Lecturing him. Look at all of them. There's like 50 of them ready to strike.
I can't even believe this.
The poop in the eggs.
Like, Bernard, you're such a dick. You come in here every day.
Look at all their little heads. Look at all they're all pissed off.
Each of us could kill you 10 times.
Look at them all
did this guy just throw us?
How dare you?
Yeah. This guy's an asshole.
Look at that. That's a great video.
I am amazed by this guy.
And there are a few behind him, and he knows they're not going to sneak up and get him.
Right.
And this is actually my video from Detroit.
All right, tell us about the book. Come on.
I'm amazed.
Let's sell some books.
All right, let's sell some books. Come on, people. It's like a telethon. Hallelujah. We're curing cancer. The book actually, it leads to virility. It's known that if you read this book, you will have an 8-hour erection.
That's nice.
Also known
tantric.
as priapism.
Oh.
It's very tantric.
Oh, that's when the boner doesn't go down.
Yeah, then you got to go somewhere and they hit it with a mallet.
Oh, what is a fucking cartoon character? that is painful. Kennedy, what's your name?
Lisa Kennedy Montgomery.
Lisa Kennedy Montgomery.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a fucking fancy name.
Yeah. Well, my parents wanted to call me Kennedy, but my dad, who just thought less of me, was like, she's not going to be able to spell it.
Oh.
Let's just call her Lisa.
Oh, no.
Like every other girl born in the 70s. Lisa!
How did your boyfriend at the time break his back?
In a motocross race. So he was a pro snowboarder for 10 years.
Gee.
And, it's like, the smartest thing you can do when you're a snowboarder, like, let me get on a motorcycle and race other dudes. So he flew off a jump and landed on his butt and just burst one of the vertebrae. And he was very lucky he was not paralyzed, because he was for a little bit. And then being a genius, a year and a half later, he was at a snowboard contest in California, and I will not forgive him for this one. He decided to be the first one off a jump in a big air contest and overshot the landing by about 40 feet and just fell out of the air and broke his back again.
Whoa.
Wow. Second time in 2 years?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And that's every once in a while, like, you know how it is when you're in a relationship, like, you ruminate on something, you let it go, and then you just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
Like,
That's the
my
one.
thing that I'm like,
Wow.
why did you do that? And still to this day, and that was in 1998.
Wow.
But I'm still like, why would you do that? Huh?
Of course.
Yeah.
How's his back now?
It's funny because his back's good, but now he has a hernia. He's got, like, he surfs, he skateboards, he snowboards all the time, but he's got a hernia, and so the other day like something popped out of it.
Oh.
And the hernia is like right by the groin. And so he's out with our daughter. They're on a walk in the neighborhood, and he's got his hands down his pants, and he's like trying to poke it back in, and he realizes like he looks like a total pervert.
Oh my God.
And so he's like trying to wrangle our very active 4-year-old, and he's like, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Oh my God.
Someone's gonna call the police.
Oh my God.
All right, sicko.
He's toying with himself. Yes.
Exactly.
He's in his pants.
What's he do for work? Is he a professional snowboarder?
He owns a snowboard company.
Okay.
So he actually has a snowboard factory in Huntington Beach, California.
Nice.
Wow, that's
which
pretty
is
good.
so amazing.
Right?
awesome.
Wait a minute.
California is a
It's-
shithole for regulation in small business. Like, it is impossible to have a small business
Yeah.
there. And it would be so easy to either have your boards made in China or go over the border and do them in Mexico. But they have stayed not only in the U.S., but in California.
Wow.
Which makes them a punk rocker.
Good for him.
Why are they so shitty with small businesses?
Because the regulation and the taxes. And now with Obamacare will kill small businesses.
Yeah.
Small businesses now will not have incentive to grow, and that is absolutely true. Obamonomics will destroy this country.
Well, that's not what I hear on the news.
Oh, no, it's wonderful. Yay! We should have free education, too, for everyone, and houses and a living wage. Unions are awesome. Look what they did to Detroit. It's perfect.
I love it.
Yeah, we should have that everywhere.
Very cool. I
So,
love
yeah,
it.
Johnny Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls wrote a #1 song about me.
Oh.
Which one? Which one?
Name?
That's about you?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I made him admit it. I did a modern-day interview with a lot of people in the book, like Pat Smear from Nirvana,
Right.
who told me something I didn't know was that Dave Grohl started writing Foo Fighters music long before Kurt died.
I believe that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
And
believe
so,
all
and
that.
Pat told me that he was walking, they were in the studio rehearsing, and he walked past Dave's car, and Dave was playing this music kind of like jamming in his own car, and Pat kind of surprised him, and he turned it down and was like, "Whoa." And so Pat's like, "Oh, that's great. Have you written some stuff you're going to bring into the studio for all of us?" And Dave's like, "No, man, this is my new side project."
Oh, shit.
And that was Foo Fighters, and that was before Kurt died. So I was surprised to learn that. The interview with Pat is really great. And then
Wait, I'm going to slow you down a little bit. You met Kurt Cobain, obviously?
yes.
What kind of guy was he?
He, from my point of view, a very annoyed one, because I think he was one of those people who was genuinely annoyed by me.
Really?
And he actually prank called me one night.
Really?
Yeah.
But he seems like he was annoyed by everyone.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
But
I
he
wouldn't take it
he would
personally.
actively roll his eyes when I would walk in a room. He'd be like, "Oh,
What was his problem with you?
I was, I represented corporate music."
Oh, yeah.
Then don't do corporate music.
Well, that was the argument that Rob Tannenbaum made when they wrote their book, I Want My MTV, was, Nirvana was a very MTV-friendly band. It didn't feel like that from the inside, because getting them to do stuff felt like pulling teeth.
But they were all over.
They did Unplugged. They
you.
did special concerts.
A lot of interviews.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't come to the beach house.
Oh, but you say, well, then don't do corporate rock. I think he pretty much stopped doing it. When you look at it that way, it's like,
you know what, you're right.
He pretty much took the big exit from...
he didn't puss out. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You know what? You're completely right.
Home. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was in there for a while.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to make
videos.
They chose to make videos.
They did, and Pearl Jam did not. After Jeremy, Pearl Jam would not make videos.
Right.
Really?
I mean, that was a band, and Pearl Jam is still one of the biggest bands in the world.
I love Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Still a big
fan.
fan.
Their live show is phenomenal.
I finally got to see him for the first time, even though I've been a fan forever, in Philly last summer. Unbelievable.
How was the end of the show?
I snuck out. Who needs to see Jay-Z do 99 Problems with Eddie Vedder? That's just so shit.
I saw Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder do the Temple of the Dog song.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm going hungry. Yeah, which is, by the way, one of the worst songs ever written.
Really?
I
kind of like it.
I hated that one.
Really?
When it would come on, I would turn it.
Chris Cornell's shrill, shrieking.
I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry.
Repeat that line, Chris.
I'm going hungry.
I'm high, like a woman who's being sexually assaulted. Go ahead. Horrible.
That was an awful little tune.
So the Goo Goo Dolls, their name, how did that come about? How did they decide to do a song
I don't know
about
that song.
you?
Can we hear some of it?
Oh, my God. It's like, sorry. Yeah, it's
You
massive.
hide beside me. Maybe for a while, I won't tell no one your name. I won't tell them your name. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, wing a ding a ding it. I inspired this song.
But why? Tell me the story.
Okay, so Goo Goo Dolls come to the MTV studio.
Right.
I loved their record Superstar Car Wash. I thought it was a great record. They had
that was before they hit.
Yeah, and they had done
was no
a
hits on
song
that
with
thing.
Paul Westerberg, and there weren't. And this was they
But a
tried
lot of
really
people
hard.
love the fucking album.
Yeah, so I love
Fair
that.
enough.
I love that record.
Right.
So they came in, and I had made fun of bands in the past, and Johnny thought I was going to make fun of them, but instead I was very effusive. And he was kind of caught off guard and really hot. Like, he had these working class Polish biceps, and he was wearing like a cut off shirt and overalls, and frosted hair, and all the ingredients right there. So we kind of had a flirtation, and then he was like, "We should go to dinner and talk about music." I'm like, "That's a great idea." And he was newly married. Like, he'd only been married for like a year. So he came over to my apartment, and we talked for a while. We went and had soup at Veselka, which is a Russian deli down the street from where I lived in the East Village. And then we went back to my apartment afterward, which was, always the fatal mistake. And, and it's late and it's dark and my roommate wasn't there, and he leaned in and kissed me. And I was like, and it was like a beautiful, like life-changing electric bolts in the vagina kiss. And I pulled back and I was like, "Dude, I can't do this. You are married." And he's like, "Okay, we'll just lay down on the couch and we'll just watch TV."
And I'll rub my penis on your backside.
We'll try hump.
We'll try hump.
Yes.
This is a new kind of mousse.
Sorry.
Let it just rub it into your hair and make it extra shiny. All right? And open your mouth and close your eyes. So we did. Like, I laid with my head in his lap on the couch, and it was like a really strong emotional connection that we never acted on.
And then he writes the song
Then
name.
he wrote the song,
Holy
yeah.
fuck, that's a cool story.
And they were broke before this song hit.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to break up, like, on food stamps broke. And then they got this song played, and it became
And they were
huge.
considered a punk band, more or less, right?
Yeah,
they were a
like,
lot harder than
They're
what...
from
what
Buffalo, and it was like kind of punk metal.
Yeah.
And they were on Metal Blade Records, and then when they switched to Warner Brothers and started writing, vagina music like this. But I always liked them. I have a total pop sensibility, and I love pop songs.
Right.
That's why I thought Metallica was such a great band, because Metallica writes great pop songs.
Absolutely. And then he admitted in the book that he wrote the song
Yeah.
about it. That's cool, man.
Is he still married to the same woman?
No, he recently.
No.
No, and I actually, because you go through a vetting process with a lawyer to make sure no one's going to sue you when they read the book, and it was funny the stuff they flagged. They flagged a story about Matt LeBlanc. But with Johnny Resnick, they're like, you can't write these things. If he was married at the time, he can sue you. So I had to take a lot of the more explicit stuff out.
Wow.
So, and then there was a love triangle with Courtney Love and Trent Reznor.
With you?
Well, I cupped Trent's balls one night, and that was about as far as it went.
That's
So we were in a club on Halloween. It wasn't. They were lukewarm. It almost put me off men for life.
Wow.
Like at that point, I was like, you know what? Maybe I am a lesbian.
I don't need this.
No,
Yeah.
and so I was kissing him and Richard Patrick, who is the guitarist in Nine Inch Nails, who became the singer of Filter.
Right. Wow.
So I was making out with both of them at a club on Halloween in the West Village. And I really wanted to be making out with Rich because he was a great kisser. And so I interviewed Richard Patrick for the book, and he was like, yeah, no, I totally wasn't into you.
Oh, man.
In the book, I was like, he could have been my first, and I loved him, and it was love at first sight. And he's like, yeah, no, not really.
Yeah,
no.
not
you're creepy.
You were a virgin when you started working on MTV? I guess, and
So
your husband's your first?
Yeah.
And your only?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Wow.
I mean,
Who would have
I
fucked
did
that?
other,
Well, of course.
showery,
you
rubbing
gotta-
with the soap and whatnot.
Right.
Your actual only sexual partner for real?
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing. You never hear that.
But see, I don't have any comparison. I think it would be harder if he was, if he had a Twizzler wiener, and if he was bad at it. But he's fantastic.
Oh.
And he's really hot, and he's like super muscular, and
Oh, man.
yeah, and he loves me. He's really awesome.
You guys been
person.
together a long time now.
Yeah, 18 years.
Holy
Wow.
fuck.
That's a long time.
You mentioned Courtney Love. We had her in. She's awesome.
She's very
We
sexy
thought we'd
in
have a
person.
problem with her, and we ended up
Oh, there's nothing like
hitting it
track
off.
marks and cigarette burns.
She
and-
was awesome. I'm telling you, we loved
She
her.
flashed me her panties, I think, by accident.
Did
I'm
she
not
just
sure.
She tweaked.
barf.
No.
She tweaked our nipples. I'm not a.
Oh, yeah, she did some
don't-
nipple tweaking.
Yeah, I don't like to.
I love that
the
one.
nipples, but she
I'm
liked them.
surprised she didn't just put her foot up here and start playing, her really crappy guitar. But so she started sleeping with Trent Reznor, and I was really good friends with Trent before I went to MTV. We were friends, and so they went on tour together, and I knew something happens with her, and I called it her cotton candy crotch, because something shoots out of that thing, and she snares the boys, because otherwise men with good sense or a penchant for other men, like somehow they turn into just zombie Courtney lovers.
She was pretty sexy for a while, don't you think?
Yeah.
No, but that's
I thought so.
just me.
She had that
When
skank,
Hulk first
skank
hit,
thing going on.
She was pretty
it
hot.
must be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her vibe is sexy, but surprisingly.
She's got a really good vibe.
Yeah, her vibe. There's something about her.
Oh
Some
no, she's
people are.
got like some hypnosis.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she literally draws people in. So she and Trent started screwing around on the road. And he called me one day, and I was like, "Get out now!" And I tried to warn him, and he didn't listen. And he did such a dick move. She was listening with him on the phone as I was bad mouthing her.
Oh, wow, that is a dick move.
And then they started like laughing about it, like two 12-year-old girls. And
Right.
they're like, "You're such an ass! Like,
Wow,
how
that's
dare
bad.
you sell out our friendship?" Because he, of all people, found out what happens when Courtney Love gets you in her crosshairs.
Right.
And she gave out my phone number on stage, and then she started calling me to get Trent information because he grew tired of it after 2 days. And then she put out a press release saying he had a small dick. She put out a press release saying that he had a 1-inch
press
nail.
release.
Not even lying.
Oh,
Does
funny.
he?
That's how sophisticated she was. Like, she wanted to disseminate that information
Well,
as quickly as she can.
fondled
You
the
felt his
balls,
balls.
so was there just an inch?
No, there was a fine ween.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
I mean,
Oscar winner, Trent Reznor, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. Academy Award winner.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Are you still
Pretty
friends with
good.
them, or did that ruin the friendship?
We are not friends. No, and
We are not friends.
it's funny because I'm really good friends with one of the guys who used to be in his band, and when that guy got married, I saw Trent at the wedding, and I'm like, "You're such a dick." And he was like, "I know, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm such a bad person." And he's one of those people who does horrible things and like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It's like, yeah. So finally, like, I got to an age where it's like, I don't want friends like that. Like, it's not worth it to be friends with people who just suck up all the oxygen and try and control the relationship.
Right on, brother.
He's got dirt.
Right on.
Yeah.
I like
The
it.
book is it's
fun.
pretty
Kenny, you're
chock full
fun,
of dirt.
Dirt.
Are you friends with Ozzy?
No, but I totally would be.
Okay, good.
Jimmy is.
Jimmy loves Ozzy.
I just love Ozzy.
That's Jimmy's number one.
Jimmy's very good friends with Ozzy.
That's awesome.
I'm not good friends with him.
He was a big fan for years and then became friends.
I know him casually from here, but no, we're not good friends.
Oh, boy.
If you walked down the street and Ozzy walked by, he'd know who you were.
Yes.
Tom Yuck.
Yeah.
Talking about Radiohead, huh?
No, he was such a
He's
jerk.
an asshole, right?
Oh, from the moment he got off the plane.
I love
with
Radiohead
stupid
music,
Beatle
but-
boots. Yeah. But I talk about that. Like, the band only got better and better and better, but he was such a jerk. He wouldn't talk. I made fun of him incessantly, and then he decided that he hated me so much that after our first interview, he played the MTV Beach House the first summer in '93 and was so mad at me. Like, he glared at me, and he just kept staring at me. And so finally, like, what are you looking at? And he's like, nothing. I'm looking at nothing. And I'm like, ooh, Tom, how clever. And that pissed him off so badly that when he went on stage, he found me at the end of the performance and just like glared the eye lasers. And then he dove into the pool. But he was such a weenus. He was such a lightweight, made of balsa wood, or maybe cement, that he sank with his Doc Marten boots. So he started sinking to the bottom of the pool, and he looks like a drowned rat with his blonde hair and his, like, you know, his one bad eye. And, you know, he's desperately trying to
one bad eye.
He goes for the mic cable. And he was going to pull himself up with the microphone.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He would have electrocuted the 200 people
That would have been
in
great.
the pool on
That would have been
stage.
great. Was that the actual, I think,
And
Let me see.
Yeah, that's it. That's the,
Yeah.
And he
so there
doesn't-
he is. Yeah, and he jumps in at the end of this.
he
He
doesn't
looks like a pretentious jizzbag.
and he doesn't sing Creep anymore, and
Yeah.
I hate bands.
he doesn't
that
sing
do that
any hit
shit.
anymore.
Not really.
Any one of their
Oh,
hits.
he's so important, he doesn't have to.
No.
What do you think his problem is?
I think
He's
that,
misunderstood. Is he one of those guys?
No, I think he
or-
was probably ignored as a child, never got therapy.
I'll be honest with you. I listened to Radiohead recently. I tried to listen to them. I think they're fucking terrible. I know I'm in the minority. I know
don't think
No,
the
you're
new
not.
stuff is
geniuses.
good. I
don't
really
think you
don't think
are.
the new stuff is
I
good.
tried listening to the old stuff, Paranoid Android, any of that shit. I hate it, and I don't want to hate it because I know they're very popular.
The Bends is one of my favorite albums of all time. And Radiohead did that one. That one's an amazing
Look at this
album.
dumb face. Oh,
He's so mad. He's like seething.
what an artist.
He's so mad at that point. And very shortly he's going to go in the drink.
What the fuck is... What an asshole.
He looks like an asshole.
He does.
And people get so mad when I talk about him. He's just so important.
He's so tortured.
Looks like Kurt Cobain there too, doesn't he?
Trying.
He is. He is
Yeah,
trying,
this is
right?
'93, so Kurt was still alive.
So everyone was trying to do the Kurt thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, his tortured persona is fucking
Yeah, I really-
stomach turning.
Yeah. And I.
Oh, there he goes in the
goes.
pool. All right, let me see this.
Sinks to the bottom.
Look, he can't get out of the
he's
pool.
Drowning.
Oh my God, he looks like an idiot.
He's like doing the doggy paddle in the pool.
He's having a problem.
They're showing the band.
Yeah, they go back to the bed.
Our singer is drowning.
Oh, that's great. Anyone can play guitar.
Anyone can drown.
Yeah, anyone can drown.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might have to read Kennedy's book. Fuck. I don't want to read.
And we didn't even get to the Dave Navarro chapter.
Well, let's do it. What do you got on Dave
He
Navarro?
was the last person I dated before I met my husband.
Oh.
How long did you date him?
Just a few months. He was super sexy. But
He
he was a heroin addict, so I wasn't going to let his fluids near me.
Oh, wow.
But he was a great kisser.
Was he?
Yeah.
Were you around him when he was doing the heroin?
No, he was completely sober. He was such a workout freak, almost borderline eating disorder. And, he and I would joke a lot about our bodies and body image. And it was like talking to my favorite gal pal.
Yeah.
He's very funny. Like, he's got this wonderfully dark, twisted sense of humor. And Kurt Loder is so offended because Dave has John Wayne Gacy paintings. But you walk into his house, and he had a medical, like, urine specimen container with a dark yellow fluid, and it says Gene Hackman on it.
He's got Gene Hackman's piss.
You gotta respect that.
That's hilarious.
That's cool.
And he kept it in
I
the
like
fridge.
that.
So
Really?
it was awesome, yeah.
Wait,
Gene Hackman's
but you
piss.
went out with these guys, and they were cool not having sex with you.
Dave Navarro loved it. Like, he loved the fact that I was not a whore. Because he, at that point, felt that all women were whores.
Right.
And if I wouldn't sleep with him, it meant that clearly I was not one of them.
Damn.
Wow.
And then he was so pleased that he was the last person I dated before my husband. And he used to make, like, the most disparaging comments, like, how's your little aerobics instructor? I'm like, he's a professional snowboarder.
Oh, yeah, guys will do that.
Yeah.
So he was a good kisser, and the other guy from Nine Inch Nails was a good kisser.
Oh, yeah.
Were any of them not good?
Yeah, Dave Pirner from Soul Asylum. He kissed me on the mouth, and I say it was like his guts punched my nose.
What do you mean?
He smelled so bad. Like he had, yeah. And
Bad breath.
Yeah. That'll ruin it.
That will ruin it, yeah.
I mean, when you've got coagulated beer mixed with cigarette smell.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that guy.
Oh, no. Was he the lead singer?
Yeah.
What are some of these bands doing?
They're actually back together. I think they just put out a record, but Soul Asylum's been touring. That was a great live band. Like, that was one of my favorite bands from the early 90s.
We did a segment on our show, and people started calling up about, bands and what they're doing now, and there's some horror stories out there. What was the one?
Oh, the guy that's his FedEx guy.
He owns a FedEx store, and what was his hit, E-Rock? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Ah, fuck. It was a huge song, and now he's just running a FedEx store in, down south somewhere.
Look at Soul Asylum.
That's Soul Asylum?
It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
At least he has a nice head shape. Jesus.
He always has had
It's
that
time to cut the hair,
big
though.
peanutty head.
You got to give up on the hair eventually, don't you think?
He's got beautiful blue eyes.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And then Danny Murphy, the guy over on the right, I watched the Nirvana Unplugged sitting next to him, and he was the only guy in the room who knew all those obscure songs.
Really?
Yes, and
Which we all
everyone
know now.
after the Unplugged, after they watched it, and music journalists went over it and parsed it, like, they realized how brilliant it was. He was the only person in the room who was like, holy shit, they're doing a Vaseline's cover right now. I'm like, what are Vaselines? And, there was a lot of stuff that was,
Oh, you were at you were at that taping?
Yeah.
So that was that done on 53rd Street or something
at
in the
the
old
Sony,
Sony studio?
yeah.
Oh, it was, right, okay.
Very good.
That's
was
what
it?
taped Tough Crowd. That's why they said that was taped there.
It's one of my favorite things ever, the Unplugged.
Yeah,
How
that
was
was
it
awesome.
being there? You got any inside dirt on that whole thing?
It was so fun because I took a male model.
Jesus.
I took this guy Jeffrey because all of my counterparts were dating female models. So I was like, I'm going to start dating models, and then I realized they're dumb. But this guy wasn't. He was sweet and smart, and we never had a physical relationship. But I took him to Nirvana, and it was so strange because as I was writing that chapter, he found me on Facebook the next day and was like, "Remember when you took me to Nirvana Unplugged?" And I called him, and he brought back all these memories. And Kate Moss was there, and we were sitting on steamer trunks, and I was like, "Do you put supermodel on your tax return?" She said, "No, I put model."
Oh,
she goes,
God.
"Why would you put on your tax return?" I said,
good
"Model."
All right.
Good comeback. Good comeback.
Ugh.
But no inside dirt? I mean, Kurt was pretty fucked up at that point, right?
He wasn't then, and I asked Pat about that if at the Unplugged taping. But what happened was after the show, I mean, it was a great set. It was beautiful. And actually, Dave Grohl does such an amazing performance during that. And you realize, the fact that he could play drums and sing so beautifully and harmonize all at the same time, and he's a great guitarist, kind of unfair. But, you're watching this, and it's theatrical, and it's really beautiful. They walk off stage, and we had to sit there for an hour and a half while they went over the footage. So they essentially watched the whole thing, and MTV was begging them to do, just one of the hits. And Dave and Chris were up for it. They were like, yeah, sure, we'll totally go back out. And Kurt was like, no, there's no way I will ever be able to top.
What just happened?
Yeah, and what was it, Lead Belly?
Yeah.
Where Did You Sleep? That's an
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
song, which I did not know about at the time.
Neither did
and
I.
that version is ridiculous. It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Well, that's that Nirvana Unplugged was so special
Right.
and amazing. And you knew it was really good there. It sounded just awesome, and it was exactly what they wanted. But the network was desperate for them to do.
Oh, I bet.
So you think he was
One of the
smart
hits-
not to, though, in hindsight?
I think he should have let everyone go in hindsight. He knew
there
right
was a
then
couple
and there.
hits in there, though.
Yeah.
But what were they looking for? What hit? It Smells Like Teen Spirit, probably.
No, they didn't want "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I think.
I'm trying to remember.
They wanted "Lithium." It's in the book
Because they got "Come As You Are." You know what though? No, yeah, okay.
But all those
And All Apologies is in there.
became very big after
Right.
this.
Yeah.
So,
But Where Did You Sleep
Kinda
last
worked.
night? And that's how it ends. When he opens his eyes at the end of that
yes,
song.
and that
Holy
scream.
fuck.
I mean, it's like.
That came from a place.
Yes, and then you realize what he was tortured by.
I felt that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get it now. Yeah, that came deep, from a deep place.
And it's so funny because when Nirvana hit, and I also interviewed Matt Cameron from Soundgarden in the book, and I asked him if it was intentional that Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Soundgarden all released their records within 6 weeks of each other. And I asked him, did you guys do that on purpose? And he said no. And he said, in fact, he had listened to a bunch of the Pearl Jam stuff, and he thought it was good, and he was really happy for Stone and Jeff because they were in Mother Love Bone. Right. And, they were a really, really tight scene in Seattle before that, so he was happy that they found a singer and had moved on. But he said when he heard that Pearl Jam record, it gave him chills, and he knew that was going to be huge. And, I argue that was the point in music that completely shifted away from metal, and I still do music radio. I have not seen anything like that since.
So it was Pearl Jam.
No, I think it was Nirvana.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean about the Pearl Jam record? I lost you there for a second.
Matt Cameron was just saying who was in Soundgarden, and he's in Pearl Jam now.
Right.
And he was saying, even given that, Pearl Jam was good, but it was nothing like Nirvana.
Okay, I
He said Nirvana was so incredible that it gave him chills when he listened to it. He listened to some of the rough tracks in the studio because they were working with the same producer.
Right.
And he was blown away.
Yeah, music made a hard fucking left turn after that.
Yeah.
It was
Goodbye,
just like
hair bands.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
So
just a
long,
massive
Warrant.
shift.
Nirvana's
See you later.
first record, you
And
mean?
that's what happened.
I know it
so
happened.
Janie Lane walked into Donnie
Yeah, it's a
Irison's
famous
office.
story.
That story's great.
And was it an Alice in Chains poster?
Yes, it was an
right?
and he was
Okay.
like, what?
He goes, what the fuck? This is my fucking joint.
Not
He thought it
anymore.
was-
Yeah.
They moved on. It used to be a Warrant poster right above the secretary's or the receptionist's desk. And then he came in one day and it was an Alice in Chains poster, and he knew, oh boy, we're in
It's
trouble.
over.
That whole hairband thing was huge, obviously.
And that happened at MTV in '97. I went into one of the music executives' office, and she had a huge Spice Girls picture. And I'm like, what are Spice Girls? And she's like, they're great. They're going to be huge. I'm like, I hope not.
Right.
Yeah, well, they were.
So it did happen to you.
Well, it did, yeah, because that pop shift, I don't think I would have survived that pop shift because it was in '97. It was that year they canceled Alternative Nation and TRL launched, and that's when Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, that's when they all hit.
Popped.
Yeah, you jumping around to that shit would have been a little weird.
Oh, it would have been so inauthentic. I would have been miserable.
So in hindsight, you left at the right time.
Yeah, it was
That's pretty
for
obvious
me.
now.
It was right, and I know my husband's happy.
Nice.
Dave,
Kennedy, you got to come back and see us.
Great stories,
this was
man.
so
You're
much
great.
fun. I really appreciate
And I
it.
think we
Really
did
cool.
book you. I think there was a weird misunderstanding, just so you know. We wanted you on the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, okay.
Truly.
Kennedy Chronicles, it's called. There's a very sexy photo of you on some sort of animal.
A mule.
A large dog. Or a mule.
That's actually a cobra.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
And I'm actually going to read this. I wish we had known in further advance you were coming. So I would love to have read it before.
Oh, good. Well, we'll hopefully see you on Red Eye, and we can discuss over
Oh, right,
coffee
you
and
did
pie.
Red Eye. We haven't done it together though.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I don't
The
remember.
first one. I remember you. You were really funny.
I never
No,
did
but
that.
And
wait,
we argued about some point, and you were
know what?
very funny,
yes.
and you kind of shook your head and you were annoyed, and then you punctuated it with a great joke. And
I actually do remember that. Yes, I do remember you. I remember the chair you were sitting in. It was it wasn't a terrible argument, and I forget what it was that we were debating. Do you remember?
no, probably some NSA, IRS, this or that. Something light and trifling.
I'm just sure Jimmy took the fucking left-wing lib fucking...
I know.
Just go to Berkeley and braid your vagina hair.
You're forgetting the most important band, Alice in Chains. Yeah, I love Alice in Chains. Ant's a huge Alice in Chains fan, too.
Yeah, who doesn't? That
That's a
Unplugged.
tragic story.
That Unplugged was great, too.
I mean,
It
they
really
didn't
was.
find Lane Staley for weeks.
Yeah, he bailed on everybody.
What kind of...
He shut
Yeah,
everyone out.
no pals there to find him.
They figured he was there for well over a week, 2 weeks or something like
Oh,
that.
that poor bastard.
Did you know?
Crazy.
No, I never. No, he played an MTV event early on when I was there that I was not allowed to attend.
Oh.
And but then I remember interviewing Jerry Cantrell and Sean Kinney at the Beach House, and they were hysterical. They actually wore old-timey time full body bathing suits from like the early 19s, and then and they painted their faces sunburned with white around their eyes as though they had been wearing sunglasses and were fried in the sun. They were so funny and amazing. And I was like, why don't you guys go on tour? And Sean Kenny's like, my lead singer's a health freak. But he was, obviously.
Yeah, he was kind of being sarcastic.
Yeah, but they, Jerry has a beautiful voice, and they've got
Yeah.
Oh, Jerry
together.
can harmonize. He's unbelievable. But Lane Staley's voice, holy fuck. That was Amazing.
Now, who started doing the Eddie Vedder thing before Lane Staley? Because you know that. And then that horrible Scott Stapp from Creed did it.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget Silverchair. They did a little bit of that too, right?
They were like 14-year-old Australians. You can't play.
We got them beers. They played one of our gigs in Boston. We got them beers. They were like 16 at the time, 17.
Thanks, mate.
And then
this is great.
We also did it with Days of the New. They needed some beers.
That's right.
We got them beers.
Jeez.
I hate that style of singing too. It drives me crazy.
I love that.
Perfected.
Oh, it makes me sick.
But Eddie changed it up.
Yeah, he did. And when he did his solo record with the ukulele, he didn't.
Even flow.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like James Gum. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
She was a large girl.
Yeah, sure. She was a big girl, sure.
Help me get this in the truck. Would you?
Yeah.
A band that I loved was Mother Love Bone. And
I love Mother Love Bone.
They should have hit, obviously, and the guy, drops dead of.
I loved
heroin.
Andrew Wood's voice.
Wood,
I
course.
loved his voice, but he
that
really
was
kind of metal. Like he was that. They were not grunge.
It was sort of the bridge between the two genres,
totally.
right?
Yes.
Because it was like metals meeting the.
Yeah, and they were like glam and would wear makeup and had big hair.
You could hear Guns N' Roses in there, but you could also hear some of the fucking grunge rock as well. I really like that band a lot.
Them and Green River, which was like
I don't know Green River too much. I know the name, but I don't
that was
know
Mark
shit.
Arm and Stone and
right. I just don't know their stuff. I've heard the name a million times. I should go search it out a bit. Anyway, we could talk forever. Kennedy, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Come
you
back
have
and see us.
a show to do, and I wish you luck. And
luck at this point, Jesus.
We were discussing Rodman. Eric just told me on North Korea. We were talking about Dennis Rodman.
Oh, really?
What happened to his face?
Dennis?
No one talks about, something is wrong with his face. It looks like he's been in a radiation accident and
it's
wears
getting worse,
an
too.
inch of old lady makeup to cover it. Yes.
Yeah, there's something going on with him.
Oh, really?
And maybe it's the rampant alcoholism that's well documented.
Well, that could be it. Yeah.
He loves his booze. He loves it.
All right, guys.
He's
You're great.
Diplomat.
So fun.
you.
The book is called The Kennedy Chronicles. It's out now. Go get it. That's it.
Or you
Yes,
can buy it on
thank you
Kindle
so
if you want
much.
to.
Kindle, Amazon.
Kindle.
You guys can even link to the Amazon page on your website. I don't even mind.
Wow, that's
I won't
crazy.
even be mad.
Yeah.
E-Rock, just link her book on our Facebook page.
Yeah, come on,
please.
E-Rock. What's wrong with you?
All
Thank you, E-Rock.
The Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius XM.